What? I love garbage.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. The recent RTA season ended, and this time I did manage to end Emperor again for the third season in a row, and so I'm making a video with my builds and opinions nobody asked for. But so for some context, I started playing RTA seriously around like 2 seasons ago, and had to play over 1,000 games to get crab that season. It was when Conquer Lilius was first released, so it was like pretty much hell. The next season, it was just that meta, but part two, and I found it a lot easier. I ended with less than 700 games, and people were like hyping it up, like, oh, it's the first time, oh, it's the last time we're gonna have before the JP server joins us. And like low key, I think they were right because in this season afterwards, like this season, I found it to be like much harder to climb, even though the point system was not changed. So I actually played more games than last season, which was kind of a disappointment for me, but whatever. I did end up playing like 8 hours on the final day. Like, I just, I don't know if I have that in me to do it again for like future seasons, unless I like the frame. Because like for this season, the frame for Champion and Emperor were pretty similar. So I don't know what I spent all that time on. But yes, for my first unit, this is my Huayang. It is kind of bad. I like the defense and the speed, but the attack is kind of lacking, and I have lost a lot of matches because Uberius Tooth does not proc, cash game. This is my Aras. Didn't really use him much. He's kind of on a middle ground build with 100 of both effectiveness and ER, but I play pretty aggressively, so he wasn't picked that much. My Caesarea also isn't built the best. It's got good speed, but its attack and effectiveness are not the best, but she worked when I could pick her, so that was great. My next unit is Cowrick. I use my Cowrick as more of a mid-speed DPS that holds book, so it's like really useful into like ER BBKs, or if he's going first against an ER ball. It makes sense with my speed tuning. Mercedes didn't really pick that often, except when I was really desperate against like landy Stenny comps. This is my aggressive politics, not built the best. Also on crown because I don't have enough books, but you know, very pickable. Like very good into like certain picks like Senya and stuff if they're not on ER builds, and combos well with like Caesarea. My carrot on cope, everything cope gear, cope book. Only when I'm really desperate against like Spirit Isoline, Moonlight Vivian, Stenny Landy, all that stuff. Okay, so next we arrive at this terrorist unit. Didn't really pick that much. I don't really have great bruiser gear because I don't really roll for bruiser gear, even though that's a mistake. But yeah, this is one of my MVPs this season. She was really one of my go-to first picks in the last 2 days. She could be a bit faster, but her stat line at a little lower speed I find is more useful. At this effectiveness with Goblet Artifact, she reaches about like 110, which is like passable. So definitely not bad. Like I think people underrate this unit right now, but if you pre-ban DJB, I think she's a very, very good pick. And I do have a video coming out later where it's just me controlling the fuck out of like APOC Ravis with Pera, and that'll be fun. I even mullet her because I liked her, but is waifu, is useful, above 300 speed, we love. Next is Ida. God's unit has one of my best DPS gears, but you'll notice that a lot of my units have some kind of bulk because although I am not the slowest player, this bulk has saved me a lot. So like I'm okay with it. This is my Dian. She's on Tome for aggressive plays. She's not the fastest, and she doesn't have that much ER, but she gets the job done. She's like really good as like a Stenny tank. My Amelia is like, on a slower build with higher ER. I didn't really pick her because I play aggressively, but in the situations where it did call for it, like against Solitaria or someone annoying like that, it was really good. Indra Alencia's built to dick tank down players, but didn't really draft. I wish I could give her something other than Seed, but it's all I have. But I have a lot of imprints though, and her stat line's still bad. This is my speed landy. Her best use is paired with book and then double soul burning into double S3ing with soul burn into remove teams and cleaving them that way. She's probably gonna get this gear stripped for Flitica. I actually stripped my Conquer Lilius for the last day because I found with Payra first picks it discourages Conquer Lilius. So my Commander Pavel, kind of a cope build, but I use him with CR pushers like Ida, Landy, or Closer Charles, so it's fine. Yeah, but oh, he's also got me like 6K video views on a video one, so like he's 10 out of 10. This is my Watcher Shuri. He's pretty bulky. He actually does survive some Sid S3s if they're not soul burn and it's behind escort, but he has enough damage to one shot things, and he has speed to cut, so like I'm very happy with where he is. My Degen AOL, her best use is into Payras, but people don't really pick Payra anymore except for like in the first pick, and they usually ban her as an aggressive pick, so kind of a wasted build. I agree, but I'll have to change her gear sometime. I just don't have the gear to change her to one of the other two builds that AOLs are on. Sylvan Sage Vabubian, she was actually one of my star units against standard players because Peyra invites units like APOC, Dilbert, and Ed, and they all like eat shit and die against Sylvan Sage Vivian. And she is the best with Handguy, Meteor Cowrick, but if you have him and you have her on like a decent lifesteal build, she can actually solo out a lot of drafts. I just wish she was like 10 speed faster with some more crit damage, but her chest and boots are pretty bad, so those are pretty reasonable upgrades. Sorry, it's like long COVID cough. Yeah, like what are these boots like? My gear is really bad. I have like 100k wyvern mats that I could upgrade with, and I'll have to do that sometime. But oof, I want to get her to at least like 210 speed, but for another time. This is where my Conquer Lilius gear went. With the Soul Weaver buff, she becomes like almost 290 speed, and I can use her as a speed contester. And with the defense percent ring, she has like some decent bulk, so she might like survive like a Sid S3 or something. Yeah, and yeah, I would highly recommend this unit to a lot of people. It's just like a more aggressive DN, I guess, is how I would put it. This is my APOC Ravi. Not the best. I feel like she has too much speed. I would drop her down to around 180 and then ramp up her HP and see if I can move that to a counter set. But like, I have bad gear, lol. Draco plate, I like it because it's aggressive. So like, you guys should try it. My Dilbert, terrible, bad, did not draft. She does no damage. But I put a Durandal on her. Um, I only pick her as like a force ban into certain drafts, like with like Ran and Co. But she's kind of bad into Ida, which is like another problem. But I just don't have the gear for her, unfortunately. It's a common story. This is my Ricky ML Ricardo. Not on the best gear. Could honestly use some more damage, but when I picked him, normally into like SSB Belian drafts, like he was normally banned, so he did his job, so I can't really complain. Especially since Hwayoung's getting nerfed, maybe he'll get her gear. I don't know. Uh, this is my Meteor Kawirik on a pretty aggressive build. This chest is wasted on him when I'm trying to replace it. He's tuned to go before most of my DPS units like Hwayoung and Co. And he has some effectiveness to be able to strip like ER Senyas and stuff through RNG. I want to change it to hit set if I can, but that's something for a later time. I didn't really play standard too much, so I didn't draft him all that often, but pivoting after the opponent picks like Armin, Sage Ball is like very valuable. This is my Strays. It's kind of a knockoff of like Nodosa's tanky Strays, but basically With Comet, you can sacrifice a lot of his speed stat so he can take lower priority gear. So that's what I did. Acid, I slowed him down a lot, like around 8 or 9 speed, because this is a really high damage Acid build that you can play in aggro drafts. And with Rin Rider, he can safely get a few turns out to the point where he can soul burn with the attack buff when his S3 comes back up. I would highly recommend this build. It's like kind of like a Tank Buster A. coli that's more sketch, but he could still speed contest depending on what kind of speed imprints I had on the board. So he worked out pretty good. My Cope BBK, she's on immunity, but her damage stats are kind of trash. If I had the choice, I would ramp up her damage, but as you know, my gear is not the best. And Symbol is there so she can counter like Violets, but I lost a bunch of matches against Violets with her, so. My closer, also on Cope gear. Where's the crit chance you where is the crit chance, you may ask? It's just in his imprints, okay? I'm just working on it. Not the fastest, but he is an attacking CR buffer, not CR pusher that gives attack buff, so he's pretty valuable. My Cope Opsig, her stats are giga garbage except for the speed, but she works. You can make her work. She is good against like really squishy units behind FCC, and you can use her S3 as a strip and attack buff too, since she is speed tuned to go before most of my other DPS units. It's just very risky because she doesn't have Guiding Light, and yeah, with attack buff, she does kill most Hyuns though. And moving on to my Spec Tenny, my best geared unit on my account, highest gear score. Um, I wish she was on pen set and she could use a little less speed, like 210 is enough. But that speed is like very important because she cuts certain 200 speed units to snipe them down with Soul Burn and S3. And she's one of my favorite picks. Like my favorite 1-2 picks are Peyra and Steny because Peyra has this issue where she doesn't bridge anyone by herself, but if you have souls with Steny, you can soul burn S1 and guarantee a stun on someone as long as you don't get 15%ed. Which is like, she's the safest book, which is like why I liked her. And yeah, and that's basically all my units I had for this season. Some units got an upgrade, but a lot of them, no, that's not true. A lot of my units did get an upgrade, but you can see that my gear is like not the hottest. Oh, I built this just in case I got Ran Cleave, but I A, banned Ran, and B, my build is garbage, so this unit is cope, dude. Like, I don't know. I just not into it. And everything else here is a PvE build. I picked Shuri anyway because 14 speed imprint, you know the drill. I'm a speed imprinter. Yeah. The only other unit that's worth showing, I guess, is Celine, which I picked her a few times when she was a must ban and she got banned, so she did her job, I guess. Not the highest damage or anything, but like did the job okay. But yeah, this is just like a PSA. Oh yeah, my Weedred, not SSS, on pretty bad free gear, but 6 speed sometimes makes the difference. I'm working on my Flitica. She's probably gonna take my Landy gear and become a mid-speed DPS at around like 260, 270. RIP to Speed Rylet. I used to use him a lot. And this is my Cope Wonder Silk on 260 speed for speed imprint racing. But yeah. As you can see, my speed gear is not the best outside of like 3 or 4 units. I think a lot of RTA is about the mental. Like, my units may not be the best built, but my units are speed tuned to each other very well, except for the fact that my Sylvan Sage Redeem goes for Steny. And so, if anyone wants to pursue ranked RTA, I would recommend first, like, the attitude and the mental has a lot to do about it. And you have to be really comfortable in your drafting style, which is something I've become accustomed to after 3 seasons. But yeah, I just wanted to put my opinions out there that nobody asked for. And thanks for watching. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Yeah.